Just selecting my qualifying setup here. Qualifying starts in about 15 seconds. I probably won't commentate as much this race just because, you know, I already explained a lot of stuff. So if I see something that I think requires explanation, you know, I'll just kind of play it by ear.
You have about 5 laps of fuel left.
So what I usually do for qualifying actually is my delta bar I have set differently here. It will display my delta in relation to my optimum sector from this session. In other words, for each individual sector of the track, instead of showing me the entire, you know, my delta to the entire previous lap, it will show me my delta to each sector of the track. And it won't necessarily show the last lap, it will, or the last time I went through that sector, it'll show the best time I got through that sector. In this session, in other words, in this qualifying. So these sector times that I'm setting on my out lap here that don't really count, next time I come through, the delta bar will show me my delta in relation to these sectors that I'm setting right now. And then if I get better times next lap, on the third lap or my second lap of qualifying, the delta will compare to, you know, whichever time through the sector I did best, whether it was this time or the next lap. So it'll always show you in relation to the best time you set through that sector for this entire session.
Green flag, green flag.
The reason I do that for qualifying...
Okay, here comes your first time lap.
I'll explain when I get on this long straightaway here. The reason I do that for qualifying is because I want to know how I'm doing in each sector, not necessarily compared to the last lap, but to my best time through there, because I want my best time.
You've got about 2 laps of fuel left.
I want my best time through each sector because it's qualifying. I mean, you want to do as good as you can. And not only that, but it will reset every time I complete a sector. So if you screw one up, next sector it'll reset. And then what that does is I won't be trying to make up time the rest of the lap. You know, if you mess up the first sector and the delta bar is showing you your comparison to the previous lap, your tendency is to want to make that time up. So you kind of push too hard sometimes. But see, watch, I'm almost half a second better in this sector. This sector is about to end, and then that will reset. See, now this sector I didn't do as well. I didn't get through that turn very well. So now I'm a 1/10 of a second behind. Made up a little time there. See, now it reset, I start a new sector. This is what I was talking about, all this data. You can have it display different things, and you can use it for different reasons. Now, during the race, I don't want to see my optimum sector times. So during the race, you're not necessarily trying to set the fastest sector every lap.
About 1 lap of fuel left.
That was a decent lap. It was a 2:13.7. There's probably guys setting times down the 2:12s though, so I really need a better lap than that. I did better through here this time. I blew that sector. That off track there invalidates this lap, so it doesn't really matter what I do the rest of the lap. I had a good time going through there. I went too wide on the exit of that one corner. And I blew that one too anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. See what I would have set. This lap,
Alright, there's the checkered flag.
on the left over here, you could see it would have been a 2:13.4 or 2:14.5 really. It's only 4/1000ths short of a 5. So now we'll go out here and check my qualifying. Well, first I'm going to reset change to my race setup so I don't forget to do that. Always the first thing I want to do. And actually I've qualified really good here. I qualified second. The track must be hot because normally you'd have guys down in the 2:12s. It must be a hot track. I mean, showing track temp 85, I mean, I don't think that's that hot. But, or maybe it's this wind. But something is slowing everybody down because normally there would be GTE cars, the blue numbered cars here. Normally some of these guys would be down in the 2:12s. The best guy only ran a 2:13.2. So I qualified second. There's 3 classes in this race. There's the prototypes, the GTEs, and then the GTDs. Sometimes there's no GTDs in the race. It depends how many people signed up and how it gets split. I've even been in races where there was no prototypes, where it was all GTEs. So the grid here, and I got grid second in my class, and there's from 14th down to 28th, so there's like 15 of us in this class. So I'm second in class for qualifying. You see these names, I mean, obviously these people aren't all American. Some of them are from all over the place. This tells you where some of these people are from. You got guys from Italy, Iberia, you know, there are other people from the U.S., New England, France, Benelux, Brazil, UK and Ireland. You know, there's people from all over the place. There's a Virginia's guy. This guy's from the U.S. There's Florida, Ohio. You know, there's people from all over in these races. So that's another thing, you know. Everybody has different standards and everything. So I'm going to jump in my car here. Set my pit option.
One to go. Next time by. Line up on the right.
You know, you have cultural differences sometimes. I don't need a windshield tear off. I just drive with a dirty windshield after the pit stop. I don't really care. I'm not sure. In some cars that slows the pit stop down actually. Matter of fact, I think this is one of them because in Imsa, while you're fueling the car, you can't do anything else to it. Fueling has to be done by itself. So now the countdown here, we have 2 minutes to grid, and then once that finishes, the pace car will pull away, the prototypes will follow. And in theory, we should wait for a while. Now, because of the way the grid is stacked, there's an odd number of cars. So there's the pole sitter over here in GTE. He's in the row ahead of me next to this prototype. So when we pull away, I have to stay a row behind him. I can't pull up next to him.
Jetstar 26 car.
I have to stay a row behind him to respect that, you know, he's qualified on the pole. If I pull up to the inside of him, that's not proper etiquette, basically. Because he's the pole sitter, he should have the best position on the start, which would be the inside line here.
Get ready, going green. Green, green, green. Go left. Right side. Clear.
Wow, pole sitter blew the start. See if I can pull away from those guys. I'm a second and a half ahead of him. See on the right there, see those numbers that are dropping real fast? That's somebody that stopped up here. He must have got going, or he either got going or he retired, one or the other.
Slow car ahead. Car stop on the left.
He spun again. Something happened to him. And that's why we lay back from the prototypes. If we didn't lay back from the prototypes, when that happened, whatever happened up there, we would have been in the middle of it. Yeah, he's got major problems because he should be pulling away from me really fast here. He's got major problems. I hope he doesn't wreck in front of me.
Left side. Still there, hold your line. Clear.
Jesus, I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Okay, you are the leader.
So at the end of that lap, I got 1.7 second lead on the second place car. And the guy who sat on the pole is not second. So in theory, that's good for me, because in theory, he's faster than me. He may just got a really good lap at qualifying. I didn't get the best lap. But in theory, he's faster than me, and he's not second, so... in theory, I should be able to drive away from the guy that's behind me because I qualify better than him. But it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes people drive better in the race than they do in qualifying. So 1.742 last time by. .855. So I pulled away a 1/10 of a second. So that means that guy's pretty close pace to me. I got to make sure I set some good laps here in the next few laps and keep pulling away so he can't get into draft range. So far, I've got a better lap going this lap than last lap. That's what I want. I want to keep improving. I got a pretty good lap going here. This should be down the 213s. As long as I don't mess up this last part of the lap. Got an off track there, but I wanted to keep my throttle down. Finished the lap off really good there. Got through the final chicane, so 1.855. To a 2.779. He must have had a mistake that lap. And that's the thing, like when you're leading like this, you don't always have to set blistering laps every lap. Now that last lap was good. It was a 2:13.7, which is about what I qualified actually, or would have qualified if I didn't mess it up. But you just want to keep setting consistent laps, because then if the other driver makes a mistake, you will pull away. That up too. I still can't hit that corner. So now I looked on my relative real quick, and it looked like the guy who was in second last time by the start-finish line isn't there anymore. The guy who got the pole is in second now. So it'll be interesting to see if he can start closing the gap on me. You know, if he can start to catch me. I was 2.8 seconds ahead. Now I'm 3 seconds ahead. Now part of that time loss might have been him passing the guy who used to be in second. So we'll see after this lap whether he starts catching me or not. good lap going here. Now, if this guy is catching me, my key is to not panic. Even if he does catch me, so what? I'm still second. So from 3.071 seconds, let's see what we got here. Yeah, see, he caught me about 0.2 of a second that lap. So we'll see. You know, if he could put together, he's still almost 3 seconds back. If he could put together consistent laps and catch me, you know, sometimes you're going to be in a race with faster drivers. And when he does catch me, if he does, depending on how much faster he is than me, if he's only a little bit faster, I might be able to use the draft to hang on to him. And then you don't know, like he could make a mistake from me being right behind him, you know, he could start feeling pressure. I could have a better pit stop than he does. So from 2.8 seconds. Now that lap I gained on him. Now I set a really good lap too. It's a 2:13, well 2:14 flat. Pretty good lap. I had a 2:13.7 earlier in the race. You know, but that's I just had an off track there. I cut that chicane a tiny bit. So if he, you know, maybe he can't hit laps fast enough to catch me every single lap. Maybe he catches me one lap and then the next lap he makes a mistake. So then the key for me becomes, okay, maybe I can't, maybe my outright pace isn't as good as him, but maybe my consistent pace is better than his. Meaning, you know, maybe his best lap is better than my best lap, but my average lap might be better if I'm more consistent. And that's how he would have to catch me. I mean, if your average lap time is better than the average lap time of the person in front of you over the course of many laps, you catch them. If my average lap time is better, I pull away. .129. So now that time he gained 2/10. I was a little slow. I ran a 2:14.2, 2/10 slower than my previous lap. So if I hit my previous lap time, actually, we would have broke even. You know, so it's like you gain a little, lose a little when you have somebody that's this close to your pace. His pace is close enough to mine where if he did catch me and pass me, I could probably just hang on to him with the draft. Probably have prototypes coming up on us pretty soon. And then at some point I'm going to catch GTD cars. So then I got to navigate my way through traffic. Okay, so no, I just checked my relative real quick. There's no prototypes coming yet. All right, so 2.95. Good lap here. Pulled away a little bit that time, 2/10. And all this means if he didn't blow that first corner on the first lap, we'd be having a hell of a battle. So I am approaching a GTD car up here. This is what gets really intense. Is I have to hit my marks in every single lap. I missed that corner there, so that's going to cost me a bunch of time all the way down this flat out section here. That's the worst place to miss a corner, is when you're about to go into a flat out section, because you lose time all the way down this. This guy's gonna hold me up. A fucking ton. I lost like a second there.
Still there. Clear on the right.
Well, it says I only lost 2/10 to him that lap, so either it didn't register by the time I got to the start-finish line, or he had a bad lap that lap too. Made a mistake or something. Let's see here. Yeah, he's still 3.4 seconds behind, so he must have had a bad lap. That's what I was talking about with consistency, though. So if he set the kind of lap times he had been setting on that last lap, he would have closed on me like a second. That was his opportunity to close a bunch of time on me because I caught that GTD car really bad. In a really bad spot. Still no prototypes approaching, that's good. Damn, I just cannot hit my corners today. So from 2.9 seconds. Seconds, so I actually gained a tiny bit because it was like 2.90 I think, and it's 2.99 last time, so I actually gained a tiny bit of time. Yeah, so that's my mission, is just to set consistent lap times, but that's I have to push though. I can't do no 98%. I got to do 100% this whole race to make sure he doesn't catch me. That's where you start to have problems. You know, I'm not a professional. I can't push that hard for that long, usually. I mean, I've done it before, but a lot of times when I try to push that hard for that long, I end up making mistakes. Spun there. Yeah, I almost spun back there. That's why the engine sounded weird. It was trying to spin the tires, and these cars have some traction control. It's not as good as on your road car, but and if I could just hit this fucking corner, if I can go wide open through there, you gain a little time. This ain't a good lap. So we'll see. He probably gained some time on me here. It's pretty much 3 seconds even. Yeah, he gained 3/10 on me. So I gotta settle in, do a good lap here. Still no prototypes coming. we're inside the pit window, and I'm catching DTE cars. Instead of trying to pick my way through these guys, I might pit here.
Car right. Clear.
On the other hand, there's not a lot of GTDs.
Left side. Stay on the right. Clear.
So he didn't really catch me much that lap. The gap more or less stayed the same, so that's good. Because that was not a good lap for me, so that was an opportunity for him. I got through those GTD cars okay. He cost me about a tenth of a second on the exit of the first turn. Time to check if the prototypes are coming. Here they come. I might pit here. Yeah. I don't really feel like I just don't know if I pit now, I might come out in the middle of the other GTE cars, my class. And the times were pretty close, so I don't want to race those guys. Now you see now it shows the guy behind me is -1 lap. That's because the leader of the prototypes just passed him. So technically he's a lap down now, and I'm not. So it shows him -1 lap, but as soon as the leader of the prototypes passes me, we'll both be a lap down. Here comes the prototype leader now.
Right side. Clear on the right.
That was more or less perfect. He didn't cost me any time whatsoever. So now I'm just wondering where's second place prototype. He's 8 seconds back. So he'll catch me towards the end of this lap or start of the next one.
Slow car ahead. Go left.
It's still showing me a yellow for some reason. There's nothing in front of me happening. So we got a GTD car here. Hopefully he doesn't hold me up.
Car right.
He's the GTD leader, actually.
Stay on the left. Clear.
I didn't get through that corner very well. See, now Diaz is 3.2 seconds behind me. He was like 2.9 a few laps ago, so I gained a little time on him through that sequence of passing cars. Got another prototype coming. I don't think he's going to catch me before the end of this straightaway, which means he's going to have to pass me in one of the tighter spots, and that sucks. Here he comes.
Right side.
This is going to cost me time.
Stay on the left. Clear.
Could have been worse. I lost about 0.2 of a second. But that was okay. I mean, he didn't do anything stupid. He passed me in a clean spot. He was well in there. I knew he was coming.
You got about 5 laps of fuel left.
Let's see, prototypes. Still no more yet. This is gonna be a crappy lap. Yeah, see, he caught me like 0.7 of a second that lap because I just didn't do a very good lap, and he must have set a really good one. Now I'm coming up on a GTD car, same class as me, and a prototype 8 seconds back. I power slid out of that last corner. See, now I'm catching a car that's in my own class. He must have had some kind of problem where I shouldn't be lapping him yet. That could be a problem, because your own class, they're more or less same capabilities as you. This will be a much better lap here. If he caught me this lap, he deserves to catch me. Oh, I fucked that corner up. God damn it. Got another prototype coming. So I went from 2.7 seconds back. Now this prototype's going to catch me right before the uphill. I hope he doesn't try this. This is going to be stupid. Yeah, don't do it, buddy. I thought he was going to try it, so I tried to block him off a little bit.
Left side.
That cost me time.
Clear.
See, make some of it up here in the draft. See the thing turn from red to, I was losing time, now it turned green. I just kind of faded to one side to let him know I wasn't going to let him through. And it messed up my entry angle. I should have done it a tiny bit earlier.
The leader's pitting now. Car on your left.
That was not smart.
Clear on the left.
I mean, he was trying to be nice and let me go, but that's not a smart place to do it. So I've been losing time in traffic to this guy. He was 2.9, then it was like 3.2, and the last few laps he's got me down to 2.3. He gets much closer, he'll be able to draft me. Got another prototype coming, he must have pitted. I gotta pit 2 laps anyway. I might pit this lap. So I don't have to let that prototype through again. I already let him go once.
You've got about 2 laps of fuel left.
Well, actually, this is gonna work out fine. He's gonna blow by me here in a good spot
Left
where
side.
it won't cost me any time.
Clear.
Let's see, from 2.3, did he catch me any this lap? Yeah, a tiny bit. And I ran a good lap. That was a 2:13.8. So he's getting faster. Well, I gotta pit this lap, so... Well, actually, I could go another lap after this, but I don't think I'm gonna. Prototype should be coming again. Man, this is a sloppy lap.
have about 1 lap of fuel left.
So I actually have 1.5 laps left, which means I could do another lap, but I'm going to pit here. Yeah, he closed in on me a lot coming in the pits too.
Move it, move it!
Yeah, he's coming out right behind me. This is going to be hairy.
Car on your left, right side, clear.
Well, he's been catching me, so I might just let him go.
Car right. Clear.
Now we'll see, you know, what can he do? Can he pull away from me? Can he set consistent laps with me behind him? Fuck that corner up.
Car right. Clear.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's not cool. Got a guy running 6 all by himself, and he decides to race like that against the GTE leaders. Jesus.
Car on your left. Still there. Clear.
pulled away from him a good bit this lap after I passed him. He might have, be like me, he probably got annoyed after that prototype hit him. Or maybe he got damaged from that prototype hitting him, you don't know.
We have a new leader.
I messed that corner up. Looks like so did he, though. He didn't close on me. I hope this guy brakes and lets me go. Doesn't race me down in the corner. That was pretty much as perfect as you can get, catching a GTD car on the straightaway, get draft from him, but get by him before the corner, so he doesn't hold you up at all. That worked out perfect for me. And that didn't work out so perfect. I didn't hit that very good at all.
Yeah, welcome.
And I really checked out on him that lap. I'm in the zone here. Set a 213, a 214 even. A 213.8 was the one before that.
You got about 5 laps of fuel left.
We've got about 3 laps left. And if I could just set 3 more laps like that, he shouldn't be able to catch me. I just wonder if he has damage from that contact. He's 4 seconds back now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got problems. Some kind of damage. Either that or he just got really frustrated and started making a lot of mistakes. I mean, it does happen. I've done it before. You know, like one thing happens that prototype hit him and let me pass him.
Car on your left. Still there. Clear on the left.
I had to focus on getting by that GTD car. But that prototype hit him, and that let me get a run on him, and I passed him. But from there, you know, you could be just so frustrated you got passed like that. You know, through no fault of your own. The friggin' prototype caused that. He could be so frustrated he starts trying to catch me in one lap, and then you start making mistakes. See, he caught me 4/10 of it. Well, I thought he did. He lost a second. That thing took forever to update. I had a bad lap there, and I still gained time on him. So I'm pretty sure he has a problem. See, I'm not even worried about drafting this car now. I don't need it. I don't want to get over behind him, and then he thinks I'm waiting for him to get out of the way, and then he moves at the same time I move. He crash. Rather not even give him any idea that I'm waiting for him to move. I almost spun there. Old tires. I also changed my tire pressures before this race. To give the car a little bit of extra grip, but that wears the tires more, so it's a little squirrely now.
Right side. Clear on the right.
I didn't even know that prototype was coming because he's on the same lap as me, see? He has white lettering. That's people that's on the same lap as you. If he was a lap ahead of me, his lettering would have been red. So that's why I didn't get the blue flag. I didn't even know he was coming. It's a good thing I noticed him at the last minute. No white flag. I got 2 more laps then. The leader must be behind me. He hasn't taken the white flag yet. So now next time by I should get the white. Yeah, and he's not coming. Because sometimes what could happen is, so like I crossed the start-finish line.
You got about 2 laps of fuel left.
You know, like 30 seconds ago, and I didn't get the white. But then if the leader comes up and laps me during this lap and he's on his white flag lap, then this becomes my last lap. Matter of fact, that race I won yesterday, when I was coming to the end of lap 27, the leader was approaching me and I hadn't gotten the white flag yet. So after the last corner, I actually stopped and let him pass me. Because what that did is it made that my final lap, and then all I had to do was roll across the start-finish line, and I got the checkers, and I won. That's perfectly legal, because I had a big enough gap on second where I was able to do that. I was able to stop for a couple seconds to let the leader go. And what that does, it's like, well, why not just run another lap? Well, because of what's going to happen here. I have to run an extra lap because the leader hasn't passed me. So now I have to get around GTD traffic. Something could happen here. You know, this guy could spin and wreck me. You know, like anything could happen. Every lap you run is a question. I could make a mistake.
Clear on the left.
You know, so if you have to run an extra lap, but you could actually stop and let the leader by, and then you don't have to run the extra lap.
White flag this time.
That's one less chance of something going wrong. So now I'm getting the white flag.
Go inside.
You have about 1 lap of fuel left.
Yeah, that's why I put that extra lap of fuel in. Normally this race is 27 laps for GTEs. So I always put an extra lap of fuel in because depending on where the leader is when the time expires, sometimes you have to run an extra lap. If I only took enough fuel to complete 27 laps,
Thanks, Ludovic.
I'd be fucked
Thanks,
right
man.
now.
Nice race, guys.
So close, Luis. So close. Good race.
I think that, yeah. You're right. I got lucky.
See, like I'm coming up on this GTD car. God knows what's going to happen with him.
You
Adam,
touched the GT car on the La Rouge, right?
Car on your left. Clear.
see, like that was hairy. Those are the kind of things you don't want to have happen. This extra lap. You know, what if I wreck there? Adelson is a ways behind me, but if I crash, he's gonna, 7 seconds is nothing if I crash. My last 2 laps have been horrible because I haven't been paying attention. There's the checkers. First in class.
You won. All right.
Nice one, left cap.
Yeah, I wonder how hard this contact was. I don't know, it didn't look that bad. But who knows? And here I came. Who knows whether, I don't see really any damage on his car. I'm trying to look. It would be on the right front corner. I don't know, I don't think so. Might have just flustered him,
Yeah, boa corrida, Bruno.
Same thing would have happened to me.
Acho que acabei por ter sorte porque deves ter apanhado o GT em Eau Rouge, não foi?
Foi a seguir à T1 naquela...
I'm just curious who this prototype is that hit him. Just so I know to watch out for this dumbass David A. Lopez. Now watch, here's something else cool I'll show you from the onboard. So this is after he got hit, and then we're coming up on the, after this turn here is that flat out section. So he blows that turn, I get a good run through this corner. Now look how close I am to him. Now listen, gear change, lift. Hear me lift there? I'll let him get away from me a tiny bit. I don't want to be right on his bumper trying to go up through here because you can't see. You missed your marks. So I backed off a little bit. The draft will pull me back up to him. And I get the run on him here where I can pass him instead of getting the run on him back there where I can't pass him. I'm going to switch to his view. Let's see how he drives the next little bit here. If it's... It looks like I'm just hitting the corners better. He really, this one here, like he almost spun. Yeah, but I just don't, I don't know. Like the last race I ran, he might have a little bit of damage that's causing his car to drive like that. And at this point, I mean, if you're him, you're super frustrated. Because he actually, after he made that mistake on the start, he ran a good race. He caught me. He caught me fair and square before the pit stops. He closed in over the course of like 20 laps. He closed in, like 4 or 5 seconds, or like 3 seconds from me. I think my lead was up to at one point. He slowly caught me, and he was right behind me going in the pits, and right behind me coming out of the pits. Yeah, I mean, that was just a mistake. Yeah, it looks like his driving just got a tiny bit sloppier and mine got a tiny bit better. Once I passed him there for the lead, I really zoned in, got up on the wheel. I was setting good laps, like a 13.8, 13.9, 14 flat. I was setting good laps, like consistently, lap after lap. Slid through there. Yeah, down the straightaway, if he had major aero damage down the straightaway, he would have lost a ton of time. But he didn't really, so I don't know. If he does have damage, it can't be a lot. I think this is mostly just frustration. And, again, I can't blame him. I mean, I've done it. Something like that happened to me, and, he's in second. He could still run me down. He knows he's faster than me. But, it's just, you have to put those laps together, and I guess he just couldn't calm down. Sucks for him. He was probably going to win the race. I was just going to ride behind him for a little while and see if, maybe I could catch him late, or pass him late. Or, maybe he would just make a mistake and go off track or something and I'd get away. Or maybe his car is really bad on old tires. The way his car is set up, my setup is bad on old tires, but it's not as bad as some of these guys, I guess. But anyway, won the race.